If you wanted to understand who a person is, a good way to do that would be to look at their hobbies. I have decided to introduce myself with the three hobbies that I think make up the biggest parts of my identity. These being cleaning, bird identification, and baking. Now I get it. These don't sound like the most interesting things to do, especially for teenage boys, but I really like all of these things and really enjoy doing them. First of all is cleaning. This might sound like the strangest thing, but I've always really liked cleaning. Even as a toddler, I would cry until things were put away and straightened up. I've always been the first person to start cleaning and the last person to stop. It's hard for me because my brother definitely does not share my passion for cleaning, and it's a constant battle between us on how clean our room is as we share a room. Thankfully, however, I like cleaning more than he dislikes it, so I'm able to keep the room pretty clean. More recently, I have been researching cleaning techniques and watching videos, and I've started a cleaning business in the last 2 years. I now clean houses for people, and I'm looking at starting a full time cleaning business. Another hobby is bird identification. I think it's so cool to identify birds. I started by taking a class that I wasn't sure I was going to like a lot, but I ended up really liking it, and now I've identified over 100 different species of birds. I think it's so cool to identify birds with just a single glance. I can identify any bird in Western New York, and I think it gives you a really fun thing to do on longer vacations and road trips, as there are so many birds in different regions. In fact, one of the coolest birds I ever identified was the Steller's jay. It's really fun because it is a bird native to the West Coast, and we were out in Yellowstone, and I saw it, and there's not many chances to see it. We're living on the East Coast. Although I do like cleaning and bird identification, baking is definitely my favorite hobby. I have been baking for about 7 years now, and I think if you can't have a superpower, baking is a pretty good stand in. It lets you make on demand desserts and breads whenever you need them. Nobody's ever said no to a tray of cookies at a party, and it's a really cool ability to be able to show up to any birthday party or game night with desserts. I started baking 7 years ago with things like cookies and brownies, and I progressed to more complicated things like focaccia bread and kolaches. I sold baked goods at farmers markets for 3 years with my brother. We sold things like cookies, cinnamon buns, pies, all sorts of things. And now I work part time at a restaurant making breads and desserts. I think baking is a really easy thing to get into. It's super fun and has a very delicious result, so I hope everybody gives it a try. One of the best ways to get to know somebody is to look at their hobbies. I hope you have learned more about who I am through these three hobbies that represent myself.